Hi, Pastor Maggie here at Celebration Lutheran Church in Sartell, Minnesota. This week, I want to talk about the church calendar. Did you know the church has a calendar, just like, all sorts of other places and cultures have calendars as well, but so does the church. So the church calendar starts in Advent. So Advent actually starts the new church year. So it starts a little bit before what we use, the Gregorian calendar in our general culture. But the church has a calendar where we work our way through a different set of readings. Last week I talked about the lectionary, so you can go back to that if you missed it. But it starts in Advent, and then it goes through Christmas, which is actually a season. It's 12 days in our church year. And then it ends at Epiphany, which is one day, and then we have the ordinary time after Epiphany, which takes us to Lent. And then we have the 40-day seasons of Lent, which ends at the 3 high holy days, which is, Lent ends with Maundy, Thursday, and then we have Good Friday, and then Holy Saturday and Easter. Those are the 3 high holy days there. And then after Easter is a 50-day season, and then we have the celebration of Pentecost, and then we have the time after Pentecost, which is ordinary time, which loops the whole way back around to Advent. And there are some festivals thrown in there too that I'm missing, but we mark the church calendar in the Lutheran Church, generally speaking, and we do this at Celebration as well, with different colors. And so the paraments, or banners, whatever you call them, the decorations, right? If you can use a lay term, that's fine, that you see in the church, on the altar, on the table, on the preaching pulpit, a lectern where readings are done, the banners hanging up, when they're different colors in different seasons. And what I think is cool about the lectionary is it's very reflective of our lives. I mean, our lives are not as ordered as a calendar by any means, but it just speaks to the reality that there are different seasons in your life, right? So we have this season of anticipation and waiting, and so maybe some restless waiting, but some hope of Advent, right? And then we have this season of remembering the incarnation of God coming to us, right? This big thing, which is hard to imagine. We sit with that for 12 days as we think about what does all this mean. And then Epiphany, this time where we reach realizations, right? Sometimes we have those in our journey. And then the season of sort of somber, penitent self-reflection, how can I do better, of Lent, the celebration of Easter, right? So I think we have seasons of our lives where we're more joyful, where we have seasons where we're a little more pensive and self-reflective. We have seasons of waiting and restlessness. We have seasons of pondering as we wait, and then we have seasons of discovery, of epiphanies. So we have all of those. So I love that that's reflective each year in our church year as we work our way just through time together as a faith community. And then if you look at the church year, you'll see that the vast majority of it is the color green, which is the color for ordinary time, which is what we call it. So the majority of our year is ordinary time, which I think is so true of life, right? We have our peaks and our valleys that are reflected in our church here, but hopefully, right, if we live a, non-dramatic life, most of it is just kind of mundane and the day-to-day and maybe a little boring and okay, here's the ordinary time. So I just love how I can see life reflected in the church calendar. And yes, it doesn't follow the calendar, and I'm not always joyous during Easter or pensive and reflective during Lent, but just remembering that this is part of what it means to be alive and be a person moving through time. Is there's going to be different seasons that you're in, and the majority of the time it's going to be kind of boring, and in all of that, God is at work. That's the good news that I am reminded of when I think about the church calendar, is that God is in it all, and God is at work in it all. And what we do as a community of faith is we come together and we talk about where do we see God in all of this. And so, yeah, it's so fun to be part of a community that explores together where God is in the ups and the downs and in the boring, long, ordinary time.